Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Friday morning trading room. Woohoo! End of another work week, short work week, but a really tough trading week this week. The market's very sideways for the most part. Yesterday, no exception. There were a couple of wild moves through yesterday's session, but overall, we didn't go anywhere. So late in the morning, we saw this big rally up, and then it reversed on itself in the afternoon, coming back down to the lows of the day, only to rally a little bit going into the close. The overnight rallied back up to the highs of the day, or Thursday's highs, and that's kind of where we find ourselves right now. So we still have this rather large sideways trading range that extends back several days now. If you remember, we took a look at the daily chart, and this is where we are on the daily. You can see we topped out yesterday, bouncing off the high of this very large trading range. I guarantee you more than a few traders are viewing this as a wedge type pattern. These wedge patterns do have a tendency to, when they're an advancing wedge like this, a rising wedge, they do tend to break lower. Just so you know, not always, of course. There is no such thing as always in trading. But that's kind of what we're faced with right now. A lot of, even though when we looked at the volume yesterday before the session ended, the volume was very light. It is significant that it was a very strong volume day and the market didn't go anywhere. Usually, if you're trying to interpret volume, you're looking for increasing volume in a move, or the volume should at least match the bar. So if you have a very large bar, you should have reasonably high volume. And when you have a lot of volume, certainly relative to what's been going on here, a lot of volume and very little in the way of progress, that kind of makes you wonder. And if you look a couple days before, we had kind of this bearish day and a rather large volume bar. So I don't know, it's almost as though the sellers are loading up. We may see a little breakout here above these highs, and then the market head lower. I don't know. It's certainly open to speculation, no question there. All right, so here we go. We definitely have a little bit of a bullish start on the day. Just referring here to the daily chart, I'll pull it up one more time. Phil sees a head and shoulder type formation. Yeah, I suppose there's the left shoulder, there's the head, here's possibly the right shoulder. here, before we leave this entirely, if you're going to trade a head and shoulder type thing, ideally, the second swing is higher than the first, because to enter the trade, you normally look for a breakout of that trend line. And here's the thing with head and shoulder formations, they're not as reliable as most people think. They're very often a head and shoulders will break and then just go on either moving sideways or flat out resuming the trend. So what do you do with a head and shoulders formation? Well, again, patience. It's such a valuable commodity, such a rare commodity. You wait for the breakout, you wait for the retest, and then you look to sell. That's the safe way to trade a head and shoulders. You'll read a lot of textbooks, a lot of articles telling you how wonderful head and shoulders formations are, but they tend to fail just like everybody, all the other formations. I do agree with Phil, though. I think I think there's a stronger probability at this point that the market may go lower rather than higher. At any rate, we have a strong bull break now. And now we're actually getting that counter trend signal. So depending how strongly you believe that the market may be prone to a reversal, here is going to be your first opportunity actually to try to get short the market. And you know what? Just for the heck of it, I may give that a whirl. The buyer's kind of blowing it out here out of the open. The market definitely in an uptrend right now. But I think, based on what was going on the daily chart, this might be an interesting opportunity. So I'm not going to throw a lot at it. We'll just do a single. And really, it's just a second push entry opportunity. So there's the number 2 signal. That's the counter trend signal. And because I believe this has the potential to move much, much further, I'm going to try to run this one out a little bit. And like I said, this is definitely something I would classify as a higher risk trade. There is a very good chance the market is going to bounce from here off this hard edge and just continue on with the trend. So there you go. Yeah, Scott says it's a big cloud trade. I love the handle, Scott. Big cloud. We're going to call it that, a big cloud trade. So according to the Raptor band, let's see, there's the top of the band sitting around 70.31, the bottom of the band sitting around Where is it? Around 70.17. And so we got ourselves, let's see, 14 points. That's going to be about 56 ticks. So yeah, you're right. The bottom of the band right there, top of the band sitting right about there. Yeah, so again, there's a few things maybe leaning toward a reverse, but still, this big move out of the open, you can't totally ignore it. I suppose the other thing you could do, or what I could have done, is just bracket this, do an OCO. That might be prudent. In fact, here, let's do an OCO on one of the other instruments. Let's do an OCO here on the Falcon. So when you use your OCO, you got to click your OCO so it turns blue. And now you're going to right click on your chart. You're not going to use the trade manager down here. You're going to right click on your chart to enter your orders. And I tend to place them away and then I'll pull them into where I want them to be. And I don't suggest you put them really, really tight. I suggest you give them a couple of ticks at least, because the market does have a tendency to just breach highs and lows temporarily, by a tick or two. You certainly don't want to get in if the market is not truly committed. All right, so there we go. We got a couple of options going on now. The first in-sync eagle signal had some very nice follow through here this morning. We haven't seen a good in-sync eagle signal now for a few days, but that was certainly one. My concern for my Raptor trade is that this is going to turn into a bull flag and that the market is just going to head higher from there. All right, let's see what they can do. Well, the fact that they're waffling does add some credibility to the notion that the market may actually try to head lower today. Okay, we're getting a red bar buy signal in the hawk. Now, these tend to develop near the end of a trend as well when a market is conflicted. The Falcon, the Eagle still a little bit more bullish, well, as is the Raptor too. And the Falcon may be working a late filter entry signal now. Those tend to be pretty reliable buy signals. So we do have a late filter entry now. Okay, we keep holding the highs. So now we effectively have a triple top type thing. Whichever way the market breaks from here, we should see some follow through now. We're getting buyers and sellers both committing to their positions. I'm using the the volume bars here. Excuse me for a moment here. I just need to deal with something of some urgency with Adam. Just a moment. Come on, let's get that follow through. If we get down, I'm going to say here below the secondary resistance zone, that will probably be enough to really encourage additional buying. And as is often the tendency, the market will move to zones when that kind of thing occurs. So here's zone number one. Here would be zone number two. That would bring us down here to the primary resistance line. I think that's a very reasonable target. And even after that, because the market is still in such a sideways trading range, a third zone would not be out of the question, and possibly even a full move down here to the primary support. So there is the potential here for a very aggressive move. Come on, they're still waffling here, still back and forth. So right now, really, all we can do is watch, wait. All right, so we're getting this barber pole type thing going on. Come on. Again, the possibility of just a little bit of a fake break above the highs here. I may actually offer up another couple of ticks. No. Okay. Wasn't far enough away, and now we're long via the Falcon. I don't normally reverse on a position, and you may see why here in a moment, because very often reversing on a position only puts you in trouble the other way because of the possibility of a fake break. And, as has been the case for most of this week, the market's just not going anywhere. We got this sideways, continual back and forth. Well, I've been fortunate enough to avoid finishing the week on a sour note up until now. Fridays, tough days to trade very often as well. A lot of traders won't trade Fridays just because, well, it's too unpredictable. What we're doing here now is essentially a continuation of the late filter entry signal that set up right here. And I do believe if we had taken profit on target there, we would, or entered the trade there at the hash mark, we would be at our profit objective. Yes, we would. And now we're just kind of nursing this along. So far it does seem as though my suspicions were correct early out of the gate. We had that rally up. This did so far turn into a little bit of a bull flag. We have a very short little breakout with trend. Nothing significant, I'm afraid. And if they don't get a move on here shortly, I am going to be forced to roll up my stops more aggressively, as I think the market may well be positioned either to reverse on itself entirely or just continue in this range. There should have been a stronger reaction to the breakout higher. We should have seen a much stronger reaction there. All right, so what I'm going to do now is on this bar right here, this bull bar that just formed, I'm going to squeeze the trade now. In fact, if it reverses from here, there's probably a good chance that, no, you know what? I'm not even gonna use the phrase good chance anymore just because the market is so dead, so lackluster. There's just no momentum here. Darn it, wouldn't even give me my break even. Last chance, I'll manually take this trade to break even. There we go. Just looking back over the week, it seems like a lot of the big moves have been coming into the close. It wasn't true yesterday, but for a few days, it seems like the close has been where all the action is. Everybody's hanging out over the day, waiting to see if anything happens. Nothing happens, and so everybody scrambles and gets out before the market closes. Come on, just give me that little break even. All right, so I'll take the break even on that. Like I said, there's just not enough going on here right now for me to sit on that, especially since I got bit early, but they may still continue higher from here. That's not unreasonable to assume. All right, let's put that away. And we'll see. Maybe I panicked there, but I'm more of the opinion if the market isn't doing as you expect it to perform, then you should probably think about getting out. Sometimes you'll be glad you did, and other times it'll be not so much. And so far, it's looking like it may not have been such a bad idea to try to get out. The market is moving higher, but it certainly does seem reluctant, doesn't it? That's one thing I've always liked about day trading is that you get a feel for how the market is behaving. Okay, so here now the hawk definitely turning bearish as well. We've got a red bar buy, which we could sell. And the way we set that up is just to sell below a failure there. I don't know if I want to do 2 orders on a counter trend. I might try 1 more to short. And here on the Raptor, you Raptor traders, there was that hard edge bounce, which trickled up, hit the high probability target. And now we've come back down to the hard edge again. If there's going to be another little hiccup here, that might produce a number 2 signal. Oh, pardon me. Okay, so a quick little hiccup here. So this will now produce a number 2. Sort of confirming what we've been seeing in the hawk as well. All right, and they're now the number 2. So essentially the same kind of trade in the hawk. A number 2 right after a number 3 signal like this also tends to carry a little bit more weight. But once again, we really don't have any direction here. So kind of tossing darts. All right, this is good. If it's nice to see this rally off of the support. If the sellers lose it at this point, or pardon me, if the buyers lose it at this point, it should head lower. We want to see some buying attempt with no follow through, and then that tells us the market should head lower. In trading parlance, it's known as trapping traders. We're watching traders commit or try to commit to the long side as they believe the market should go higher from here. But if it does not go higher, then they're going to be stuck in their positions and they're going to have to exit. This is a little better setup than what I was looking at earlier. But just a real yawn fest here. All right, here we go. They're gonna give it another whirl to the short side. All right, and since there's nothing going on, I will try to run these out, but in actual fact, you should probably take profit on target. All right, so we've got the same trade going on now. It doesn't matter whether you took the failure of the red bar buy here in the hawk, or if you shorted off the number 2 here in the raptor. Um, One thing that you need to be aware of when the market breaks out like this, it's going to have a tendency to retest. So if you're not taking profit on target, you should try to be as patient with your trade as possible in regards to rolling stops, because the market is going to try to hiccup in here somewhere. That's how we're going to get our official cloud crossover signal developing. And we're back down here now to the secondary resistance line. So we bounced off that one. We're down to this one. That's zone 1. Zone 2 here is going to bring us back near the low of the morning, around the 70.10 area. Let's see, how am I doing? Ooh, okay, it's getting up there. I should probably do the break even. All right, so we'll take the trade to break even now. And again, it's entirely up to you. You know, there's a lot of open profit here. Between the two contracts, I've got about $300 in open profit between this trade here and this trade here. So, you know, there's certainly nothing wrong with that. But like I said, there's not a whole lot going on here this morning. We may as well try to run it out. Oh, look at that. Son of a gun. Well, that again just shows you what kind of day it is here today. where we're just getting a lot of sideways nonsense. Well, look at them go. Now we got this huge run up. Well, folks, I think we're going to, we're not closing the room up just yet, but just looking at what kind of day it is, I do have another appointment to get to, so we may close up the room at the bottom of the hour again, call it an early week. I'm not sure we're really going to see all that many quality opportunities here today. This market just keeps zigzagging. Okay, you can see we actually producing now another with trend signal, with trend in regards to the trend of the morning. Our number one signal. So, yeah, the market definitely. Oh, there we go. Now we're lighting it up a little bit. Okay, well, so that early rally really did set the tone for the day here today. It's rare to see these really sharp, what traders refer to as V bottoms or V tops. This is very rare. Well, it'll be nice to see the market start establishing some sort of trend again, because it's just so difficult trading in these sideways type markets. And that's where we've been for the last couple of weeks. Days like, we did have some good days in here. There were some big ranging days overall. But for the most part, when the market is just moving sideways, it makes for some very difficult trading, because you just get too much chop, too much back and forth. All right. Well, now after that very impressive rally that the buyers put on, we're hitting the sideways skid again. What do you do? What do you do with days like today? Um, Unfortunately, the best, now that it seems as though we have a bull trend established, the best strategy is actually going to be to wait for a pullback. And it should be somewhere near this hard edge. So we're going to be looking for a pullback, possibly even to 70.40. So I guess if you wanted, there was a possibility of a short back here to the hard edge. And then when we get back to the hard edge, there should be another opportunity for a buy. Okay, here's the short. So there's the number 2 signal. Because it's counter trend, you should, if you're going to do it, you can go in with a single. You shouldn't go in too heavy. It's always prudent to take profit on target in a counter trend type situation. And then when and if the market gets down here to the hard edge, you can look to buy it again off of a number 3 signal. The number 3 signal, however, believe it or not, even though we've only been in the market for an hour, we're probably getting a little bit stale. And as such, I'm not sure we're going to see another huge rally from here, but rather the market may continue going sideways on the day, a little bit of back and forth. So again, you should, just given the nature of the day, you should consider taking profit on target. The signal should still be viable. You should still be able to get up there and hit your profit objective. You will have to leave reasonable stops, though. This is not the kind of day where you can jam your stops in ultra tight and hope the market doesn't tag you out early. I don't think that's going to work. All right, gang. We're going to close up shop here for the morning. I will see you again on Monday, and have yourselves a nice weekend. I will talk to you Monday. Bye for now.